most potting mix honestly kind of sucks. It's a growing medium, yes, but a matrix for life, no. It's really just something for plants to grow in and get started, germination, but in terms of fertility, nutrients, what actually begets life and allows plants to grow well and have healthy immune systems, and then some, not so much. So either, honestly, the only company that I recommend getting potting mix from is Vermont Compost. They're awesome. We share some on our website. We also share and made this little creation. It's a DIY potting mix starter because and I wish you could feel this. This is like, whoa, it's really heavy. And that's because this is full of nutrients. It's the nutrients that most potting mix doesn't have. And yeah, so it actually makes 80 quarts of potting mix. And there's a whole little recipe on the back that includes peat moss and or coconut coir, compost, and perlite. And you combine it in all the proportions that are on the back. And voila, you have kind of awesome, really economical potting mix. And yeah, we made this because the Fort V is super expensive. It's awesome, but it's super expensive. And there are some halfway decent companies that you'll find out there, but it's at nurseries and garden centers. We found it's really expensive and it's not that great. So you can, in fact, add this to other potting mix as well, just to augment it. But we find with this mix, it's with the recipe, that is the best of the best. And so these are just super simple ingredients. Peat moss and or coconut coir. Peat moss, sadly, if you're soil blocking, it's way better for to use the peat moss, which breaks my heart because peat is one of the least renewable things on the planet, and so it's a painful thing to even be using it, and at some point our culture will just not be able to use it at all. But in this time we have peat moss. It's kind of amazing for potting mix. And as an alternative, there's coconut coir. It's also sometimes called coconut coir. It's spelled C-O-I-R, coconut coir. And it's basically the outer husks of coconuts taken off, shredded very fine. So between peat moss and coconut coir, they can be compressed significantly, but still have a lot of pore space, a lot of air space. So that is ideal for starting seeds. So yes, you take 10 quarts of well broken down peat moss, 10 quarts of finely broken down and sifted compost, basically so there aren't some large pieces, but you can see there's a piece. I'm not a perfectionist, have I mentioned? And then you also separately combine 7 quarts of perlite with 1 cup of this mix. And that is the ratio to make yourself your own gorgeous, organic, amazing potting mix. And whether you're sowing in flats or starting in soil trays or in soil blocks, it'll set you up for success. But especially if you're doing soil blocks, this has everything that it has the perfect proportion and great nutrients for it, and the gypsum that it needs to really hold together too. So there's gypsum, there's lime, there's green sand, colloidal phosphate. There's over 100 micronutrients in addition to the macronutrients in this mix. So yeah, these are all the minerals missing from most potting mix, and I am honored to share it with you, friends. May it surround you with beauty and abundance and gorgeous little transplants that will surround you with incredible abundance in the season and many seasons to come.